Well, I was at school, secondary school, and in the last year, they wanted to know if anybody wanted to play an instrument. So this guy, who was a friend of mine, Jack Weddle, him and I said, oh yeah. So we went in, because we were into jazz. Well, we've been listening, my brother, eldest brother, let me listen to some records he had, Gerald Morton and stuff. And so we went into the room, and all the instruments were on the floor. And so they said choice, so they said to me, which one do you want? And of course I saw the smallest one, this little cornet, so I said, oh, I'll take that one. And he took the trombone. So that's how we got started playing. And but they gave me a soprano cornet, which was very, very difficult to play. Just about done my lip in, But anyway, we played there, a guy called Zeke Pennell, or Jimmy Pennell, we called him Zeke. He was a trumpet player in the band called Alexander's Dance Band. We used to rehearse in the assembly rooms in Constitution Street. And we just go to the rehearsal sometimes, But, so that was him. And after we left school, I did a stint with a guy called Jock Miller, who was in the King's Theatre. He was the trumpet player in the King's Theatre. And I did that for was it about a year maybe? But I was paying him, to give me lessons. And I'd come up, and if I made a wrong note, it was a couple for the ear, you see. I'm 15-year-old, and I'm saying, hey, wait a minute, So that's why I stopped that. But Jack and I played, practiced together and all that sort of thing. But we went to the Crown Bar. 52 it would be, I think, because I think Sandy Brown, no, it'd be 53. Sandy Brown left for London in 53 and had the party in the Crown Bar. And Mike Hart came across us, we were sitting together, and he said, you two guys musicians? I said, yeah. He said, what do you play? I said, well, I'm trumpet and cornet and trombone. Well, he says, well, there's three guys over there, a guy called Kenny Milne, who's a drummer, and Carl Lakeville was the clarinet player, and a banjo player whose name I can't remember quite now. But, so he introduced us to them, and that's how it all started, But we got the band together and used to practice in the rooms. St Cuthbert had rooms up at Nicholson Square way, and we did that for quite a while, and then we started. Well, by that time we were going up to see, I'm going back now, back on myself. But before we left school, we used to go up to the India buildings on top of Victoria Street, and Sandy Brown and Alec Welsh used to play there, the two bands, Welsh for an hour and then Sandy Brown for an hour. Fabulous bands. I mean, the Brown band was absolutely out of this world. But it was great. It was sixpence to get in and a shilling for non-members, really big money. But so we started rehearsing, and we ended up playing in a place, Duffo's Pet Shop, down in London Road, his cellar below, and it was a shambles. I mean, it was just, but we were young, and in the 50s, nobody cared, But the police didn't like it, and they closed that down. But I think we moved up to York Place then, the jazz club moved up there, and we started playing there. And there's at the time, we were at Duffo's for quite a while, but then we went to York Place, but we only lasted a few. And a guy called Jim Young, who we met down in the Duffo's, we needed a bass player, and he was a trumpet player, we were learning, so he took up bass, and so that's how we got with him. And he started running the clubs, called the Stud Club. I think it was for students actually, not for studs, you know. And we moved to the Roman Eagle Lodge on the top of Castle Terrace. We were there for quite a while, but I fell out. Well, a couple of things happened. So we were drinking in the Castle Arms, and I got Kenny Milne, Mike Hart, guy trombone player called Mike Pollitt, and who else was in there? Chris Cook was the clarinet player, and Jim Gowdy was the bass player. And we started playing, and they've called it the Climax Jazz Band. And that's lasted for a long, long time. But so from there, where did it go after that? I was getting near army time by that time, you know, and I'm trying to remember where we played after that, by the way. But the Climax played for quite a while, a couple of years anyway, you know. And Pollitt, the trombone player, he went to the army, and next thing, I was off to the army in 1957. So I did my stint there in Germany, and came back, and this Jim Young had the house in the St. Peter's Place, and he had a cellar and had a stand and everything, you know. And so I went right back into playing with the Climax, you know, just kept on playing. So
to go right back, other than the guy at the King's who used to give you a clap on the ear, did you get any formal trumpet cornet training in jazz, or was it classical, or where did you learn?
No, nothing like that. I didn't wait that long. I think I reached harmonic and melodic minor scales when I gave up, you know, and I was struggling a bit, actually. I've always had to practice. It was never natural for me to play that instrument. I should have probably done a clarinet, actually, but there you go. But
so how did you learn? Where was your apprenticeship to learn?
Well, just playing with the bands, you know, that was it, you know. It was jazz, and nobody read anything. You learned a tune, the boy learned the chords, and you just played, you know. There was never any strict training. But you learn how to blow the actual instrument, you know. A lot of people play trumpets and don't really know how to blow them properly. But that's the only formal training that I had, you know, was at the school and just after, you know.
And in terms of back at the 50s, how was it perceived in Edinburgh? Was it quite out there, new? I mean, you talked about the police. What did people think about these clubs at that point?
Well, I never really met anybody that didn't go around them, but there was a good crowd. Oh, lots of people came along, you know. And it was young, you know. Yeah, that was quite good, actually. But as I say, we played in St. Peter's Place, and we were there for a wee while. And but there was complaints. I always remember the police climbing over the back, the gardens at the back to get to the house with the glasses, trying to see what was happening, you know, and the band playing. It was just incredible. So they charged them, actually, and but we got off with it, you know.
And why were they shutting you down? What did they think that you were?
They thought it was going to be drugs and stuff like that, and probably sex. Can I use that word? Yeah. And there was none of either, I can assure you. There was nothing going on at all. No, it was just guys. The people come along, and I think we played on a Saturday night, that's right. It was packed. We used to be packed.
And were you, at that point, or were you beginning to make your career as a musician, and was it
No, it was always, I never ever became professional as such. I worked and just during the day, and did everything at night, weekends, you know. But I remember opening and shutting the Air Jazz Club in one night with the Climax. They were a crew. Mike Hart, falling off the stand drunk, you know. We sent him ahead with the instruments, and the band followed. And when we got there, him and the clarinet player, so it was a nightmare.
So what were you doing during the day? How was your
I was
life?
a painter and decorator, yeah. So, yeah. That never really interfered, but when I got to the 70s, I went on my own, which gave me carte blanche, actually. I mean, I could just go off whenever I wanted to and that sort of thing.
And did you travel either around Scotland or even further afield?
No, not early doors. I went to Glasgow, I think, once or twice. Did the competition there, you know, in the Sanders Hall. It got burnt down. And, but no, we didn't travel a lot. Go to Dundee Jazz Club, things like that, you know, only in Scotland. But anyway, Kenny, the drummer, went to London, and the band got depleted. But we were playing in the Lynx Hotel up at Bruntsfield, and I was asked by Andrew, oh goodness me, Archie Semple, I forget his name. Old Bailey's Jazz Advocates, anyway, and they asked me to play with them. So I went with them, you know, and the climax was sort of forgotten by then. Well, not forgotten, but I didn't have anything to do with them. And I played with Archie. I think I probably started with Archie maybe 66, going into 67. And Archie played for a year, and then he took a year off. He didn't play. So we got a guy called Kenny Ramage, a trombone player, and he took over the band. Archie came back and played, but played back with the Old Bailey again. Got to Andrew Lauder, and the ex-boys took his place, and they played, but he was killed in a road accident. So I played with Kenny Ramage, for quite a while, lots of guys. And Jack Finlay on piano. It's me a modern piano with this. That was a thing I have. But I'm trying to remember their names. Hamish McGregor was in the band, and I've got photographs of it all, you know. But after that,
Sorry, tell me more about the competitions in Glasgow. That's not something.
Oh, we just did it at one time.
But what were they?
Well, the jazz band competitions. Bands came from all over to compete and see who was the best. Archie Sinclair, that was the Old Bailey. He took the band through, but I was with the Climax again by then, and they went through there. They wouldn't let us on the stand, actually, because we weren't members of the Musicians' Union. So all the money we got for doing this competition, we had to pay to the guy to get in the union so they allowed us to play. He was going to shut the whole thing down, you know. It was quite funny, you know. But that was good times. I'm trying to remember. A lot of the guys went down to London, so I kept the Climax going as long as I could, you know. But then they started up again. Where was it? I'm trying to think of where the first one was. I remember the Glen Elk Hotel, and played there for a long time. And that was with the Climax. And that was the first time I toured. 84, I think it was, we went to Norway. And we toured Norway with the band, the Climax band. And came back and trying to think, 89. I can't remember what we went to the Glenelg. We've also played in the White Cockade, played there for about 5-6 years in the White Cockade in Rose Street. But these were all doing different gigs with different bands at the same time, you know, and it was quite confusing for me now, you know, to remember them all.
So were you busy? I mean, was this quite busy?
Oh yeah, it was a great scene. It was a tremendous scene in those days. Yeah, well, we did the White Cockade, that's right. And then we went to the Glenelg, and we were there quite a bit too. But from that, we stopped to Glenelg, played a lounge down in Great King Street, and we had a 5-piece there. Joe Westwater, Jack Weddell was in trombone, a guy called George Gilmer on clarinet, very good clarinet player. And Roy Petrie on bass. He had just left school, and he was just coming there. And that was a 5-piece. And we did that, and we toured Holland. That's right, about 89, I think it was, we toured Holland. There's lots of other stuff I've forgotten about before then, but yeah, we toured Holland, and that was great. That was a big one. We did tour all over Holland for about a year. And then we came back, and then we formed the Diplomats of Jazz, the banjo player and me, and another couple of guys. Andy Hampton was on clarinet, I remember him, and the sousaphone player. He'll kill me if he sees this, and I've forgotten his name. So that started, and I played up in the Ettrick Hotel, played there for 7.5 years there. But on the same day, on the Sunday, we used to go down to the Glen Cairn and play the Sunday night. We also played the Bank Thursdays and Saturdays. It was a really busy time. But this time there was no police restriction by then. That all gone, that was just the 50s and 60s. But yeah, we did a lot of work,
So when did the demand start to decrease? Is there a specific
Oh, that
time?
was a long time after that. I mean, maybe we were still playing quite a lot in the 80s and the 90s. Yeah, it was late 90s into the 20th century, 2000. It's slowly but surely. Of course, the people that were supporting us were getting older. They were either shuffling off the mortal coil, or they were too infirm to go to these places anymore. But we kept going. But in between when I was playing with the quartet, I joined the George Penman Jazz Band through in Glasgow. And I met a guy there. In the band was a clarinet player, Ivan Henderson. And he died just 2 days ago, actually, Ivan, 88. Lived a good long time. But we went over to Denmark with the Penman Band, and everybody liked over there, loved Ivan. So when we came back, he was asked to go back again. And when we went back, he was asked to bring a band over. So he came back and he asked me if I wanted to play, you see. So I said, it's fine. So we got a band together, and we called it the Two Cities Jazz Band. Because we were different guys. We're from Glasgow, Edinburgh, and eventually with them from London and all over the place. But and we started going over to Denmark. Played there for many years. Once a month, twice a month, so it was just all the time. Ivan was a very popular guy, wee guy, clarinet. Used to dance about the stand. It was great, really good. But that was the start of the touring. But Edinburgh, well, yeah, I still played with the quartet, Just kept going all the time, and it was quite busy.
And who or were there people that were visiting that influenced you, or that, sort of changed the way you were playing, or that you can remember, or playing with, that you sort of learnt from?
Well, when I was younger, we listened to George Lewis and, great stuff, Bunk Johnson and all that. And that was the New Orleans stuff, and I played New Orleans music. But then I started listening to Louis Armstrong, the Hot Fives and stuff like that. And I gradually changed my style a bit, and started playing that stuff. And the quartet, the Diplomats of Jazz, we played a lot of Louis and stuff like that, But it was just the records that influenced me, not people. I went to London, of course, I forgot to tell you that, 59 and 61, I got married down there as well. But and the Lewis band came over, but I missed them. And when I was in Edinburgh, I went to see them, but I had a chance to play with George Lewis down there, and I thought, that'd be too busy. Everybody will be down there playing with him, so I didn't go down. But that's how I changed into sort of the more Chicago stuff, you know. But, yeah, Edinburgh just carried on, you know, it just carried on. I started touring with English bands, toured with a lot of three Yorkshire bands, the Savannah Jazz Band, the Yorkshire Post Jazz Band, Taffloys, New Orleans Serenaders. Yeah, and that was good. I did a lot of stuff all over England with that. But when we started with this Two Cities Jazz Band, well, packed in the Penman Band, so it was only the quartet in this Two Cities. Mm-hmm. And we incorporated the banjo player from the Dipson Jazz and the sousaphone player into the Diplomats, into the Two Cities Jazz Band in the middle.
And in terms of bringing on new younger players, did you?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. When I came at the army, we got a guy here, an amazing player, Jake McMahon, lives in Derby now, and he was superb. Shut your eyes, was listening to George Lewis. Oh, he was fabulous. And Kenny was on drums then, you know. It was a good band, really good band. Yeah, there was him and, Beverly was a young player coming into the band. So was Bill Bryden. They were all youngsters coming in, listening to the bands.
And looking back, what are your most fond memories? What sticks with you?
Oh, well, certainly touring that was a big eye opener for me, you know. I was never I didn't think myself much of a player. Well, I played and I was all right, but I didn't think I was ever going to be touring with a band, you know. I mean, that was something that I never thought would happen. So I did that, and meeting all the people, you know, there's all so many fond memories from all the different bands, you know, that I played with. It's very difficult to think of anything precisely, but yeah, certainly playing with the Climax, going touring, that's fond memories of that, and just fond memories of the Climax. It was played with so many good players, you know. They were really, I mean, played the stuff well, you know. It was really good. And of course, I've kept friends with a whole lot of them. Well, Kenny Milne, of course, and Jake. He was just up last weekend. But and there's still contact with the bands in England, you know. They were good memories. The touring with the Savannah. And I used to do Breda in Holland once a year, every year with the Yorkshire Post. And that's very fond memories of that, you know. But there was a lot of hard times in Edinburgh, you know, with the playing. But the Climax was good. And of course the Diplomats is Jazz now. I mean, that's a really good band.
What were the hard times? Where did they come out of?
Well, when I went to London, I came back. It was difficult to get back into the band, you know, because the band had changed, got somebody else playing for me. And that was always a bit hard. I didn't do much playing then, you know. But it didn't last all that long. But no, I don't think I've ever had anything in the jazz where I said I've had a hard time about it, you know. Lots of times when you weren't playing, you know, I found that a bit hard. I had to practice all the time. But all memories I've got of Edinburgh jazz, they're good, you know, and just like all the rest afterwards, you know. Yeah, I went down to, played the last band I toured with. We went to Sweden and Denmark. It was a band called Jim McIntosh's Jazzaholics. And of course, played Rossi, the Rossi Jazz Festival in Isle of Bute. Did that for about 8 years, yeah. It was these are all things that are just suddenly springing into my head, you know. The time scale, I'm lost on that.